Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you so much for joining me here. Hope you're having an amazing day. We're taking a look here at Terra Classic, seeing what's going on. We got some important stuff to talk about, a little bit about Elliott wave theory and that we could be experiencing another leg down here soon, but also potential support and resistance zones that we need to be aware of. So we didn't get that closure yesterday above that level I mentioned, 9,800, which is extremely important. And unfortunately, with that being closed below that, yesterday's somewhat of a crash from Bitcoin, we could see a little bit further downside. We'll talk about some worst case scenarios, but also better case scenarios too, because this one is still performing quite well considering. If you look at how well it's recovered contrary to Bitcoin, it's looking really, really good here. Okay, so again, uptrend versus sideways action, stuck on stupid for Bitcoin, right? So that's a really, really good sign. Ultimately, we're going to look at that and much more. So if you're new to the channel, love teaching people to trade. Hope you can learn something today. Quickly to note here, I got a lot of emails this morning asking about BitGet KYC in the US. I just want to let you know, awesome alternatives here is to use BINGX exchange to effectively be able to use an exchange in the US or other countries. In fact, they give you incentive with a $100 trading bonus, no volume or deposit required to trade in these countries. Okay, so again, something to consider. You could also use a VPN and use my link in another country, of course, for BitGet as well. But again, larger exchanges are having some trouble. That being said, also help us join our Twitter community over here. Get things going. Of course, we just started a new community. Really greatly appreciate your help in getting that going. Okay, so taking a look here, once again, all those links are down below in case you're curious. But with Terra Classic, what we want to look at here, of course, is a few things. First of all, we're going to talk about the big picture. So big picture here on the daily, this is what I talked about yesterday here, and that a candlestick closure above this level is extremely important. We didn't get that, obviously, because Bitcoin had another agenda, but it's coming back. It looks like it wants to try again. Okay, so we can get a closure above that level here soon. I think that's important because, again, this is a key resistance previously, but also a Fibonacci retracement level we need to pay attention to. Okay, so I feel like 9,800, a closure at 10,000 or higher would be a good case in point where we want to be able to consider adding to our position afterwards. Leading into it, we got to make sure to be safe, safer than sorry, right? Because if Bitcoin has another agenda, goes down to 23, fills that gap at 21,000, we're going to have a whole nother situation on our hands here with Terra Classic. No matter how good it's doing, it'll still be impacted, right? So just bear that in mind. So try not to have super tight stop losses in place. I'm not saying you should travel without one, but if you pay attention to it enough, you should be in good shape. That being said, looking at the RSI here, this is still a key factor here. Even with the crazy turmoil yesterday from Bitcoin, look at Bitcoin's RSI. Terrible, terrible. Luna Classic, pretty good. All right, so Terra Classic's looking pretty good here. We can see, obviously, the price action coming up, bouncing off that level effectively. Now, we got a nice bounce here, too, with the MACD as well. So, all in all, the macro's still looking good. Strong, strong recovery here. Compared to any other coin out there right now, Terra Classic is doing very, very well for itself. Okay, so this is awesome, awesome stuff. We like to see that. So 4 hour, what does that mean for us here on the 4 hour? Well, if we take a look at the moving averages, we're above all three, still strong, holding good. We can also see as well that we are above 50 in the RSI, while we're seeing some money flowing out of the coin that happened from yesterday. We're still in good shape. We do want to pay attention to that, of course. We also got a MACD divergence on the horizon. This is a stark reality here that I like to kind of emphasize and let you know that when you see a MACD specific in the 4 hour time frame, this is like the most, it's the strongest kind of indicator you could find, in my personal opinion. And all the trading I've done, day trading, swing trading, if you have a MACD divergence or convergence, whatever it is, on the horizon on the 4 hour time frame, that's the most specific time frame I've noticed with it. We have the most consistency. There's a good chance we could see if this does diverge, then the price action should come lower. So I think it's probably best to train yourself right now that the price will come down before it goes up. Even though we have a nice recovery here, contrary to Bitcoin's lack of success, it's still very possible the price will continue lower, okay? And let's talk about that here. Let's take a look at the 1 hour. This is something I need to kind of drive home for you as well, because again, I'm a proponent for most coins, especially Terra Classic. I love the project. I love the people. I've got a great following over on Twitter, of course, from that, so greatly appreciate all your guys' support. And I can say, though, that this, regardless of how good you feel about a coin, you got to be realistic in the sense that the technical analysis is telling us a different story. So if you're not familiar with Elliott wave, it basically tells us it gives us three higher highs and two higher lows, basically. So we can see these here: higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, so on and so forth, until you hit a 5. In other words, you have basically 3 uptrends followed by 2 downtrends. Okay, so in most cases, you're going to see 2 lower lows to follow. All right, so our next lower low could be in one of 2 places. Again, these are a little bit egregious. It may not come down that low, but if we were to effectively have a lower low, it'll have to be lower than this point here. So hypothetically, roughly 86, 8,700 would be our next target, or next place in which we can expect the price to pull back if it were to. Again, if we don't get a candlestick closure above the daily at 9,800 or 10,000, we're probably going to be able to see a lower low there. And the main reason why is because we're not breaking this trend with a higher high. Okay, higher highs can continue to happen. It's not to say that it won't. It's just that the statistical probability of the price action making a lower low versus a higher high from here is greater. Okay. Again, just something to kind of think about. This is Elliott wave theory. Theories are not 100%. Okay, but it does have some some accuracy, and I can tell you that when we start printing those type of patterns, there's a good chance that we're going to see that lower low, lower high pattern, and it would make sense that we see something in this range here. So hypothetically, if you're going to have some dollar cost average targets, somewhere in the range of about 86 to 8,800 would be probably pretty realistic. Okay, not saying you want to short and tell there. You could very well consider doing that, just low leverage, low position size, so you don't get wrecked, because the price could very well continue higher. Right? Terra Classic's doing well. But now that Bitcoin's under 25K, there's a greater chance we're going to see a lower price point for it. Okay. Now again, if you're not watching my Bitcoin videos daily, I recommend doing so just so you can kind of get familiar, enable your alerts in the whole 9 yards so you can kind of stay abreast. But I can tell you though, at this point, we're looking at further downside as a larger probability based on the MACD divergence potential, as well as continuation with the Elliott wave. Bear in mind that should all be nullified if we can establish a higher high. And in order to do that, we need to close above this level of 9,800 sometime today or tomorrow. Okay, that has to happen soon. We can't get a closure above that. We're just going to keep rejecting, and the price is going to come back down. All right, so something to pay attention to. Again, love this coin. No bias whatsoever. But just realistically, we have a slightly more statistical probability of price going down than up from here. All right, I hope that makes sense and I described that correctly. Thank you so much for watching. And obviously, again, make sure that you help join us over here on Twitter. Consider following us here, of course, to help grow the community. But also make sure you do yourself a favor and jump on over to BINGX. Use that exchange, awesome exchange. $300 bonus just for being a Canadian, European, Oceania, US, or UK citizen. Okay, awesome stuff there. Again, this is our transition from BitGet and Bybit because they are requiring KYC now in specific countries, and you need to be able to sustain yourself with trading. Why not have a little trading bonus? Okay, so be sure to check that out in your own time. Thanks again for joining me here. Hope you have a great rest of the day. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.